Bill Cosby was sentenced Tuesday to 3 to 10 years in state prison for sexually assaulting a woman more than a decade ago. The 81-year-old was seen being walked down a courthouse hallway in handcuffs. He was denied bail. The judge says Cosby remains a potential danger to society. He must serve 3 years in prison before becoming eligible for parole.
And we are now joined by the woman who helped put Bill Cosby behind bars, Prosecutor Kristen Gibbons Feden. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
What an image it was to see Bill Cosby in handcuffs, walking out of that courtroom, going to prison. The sentence 3 to 10 years. Do you think justice was served yesterday?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Andrea Constand and her family got to be heard. Many women got to be heard. Many women got to give their victim impact statements in a different forum. Justice was definitely served.
Mm-hmm. Bill Cosby yesterday, he didn't make a statement. There seemed to be very little remorse, very little reaction. Had he demonstrated any remorse throughout the course of the trial, even the sentencing phase, do you think that perhaps the outcome would have been different for him?
Certainly that would have been a factor, a mitigating factor that the judge could have considered when sentencing an individual. I understand that he invoked his right to remain silent, which is his constitutional right. And that's why his counsel at least argued that there was a lack of showing of remorse. But certainly that could have come into play and could have been a mitigating factor.
Let me ask you about some remarks that his publicist, a man by the name of Andrew Wyatts, said on the courthouse step. He said this was a racist and sexist trial. He went on to say they persecuted Jesus and look what happened, not saying Mr. Cosby is Jesus, but we know what this country has done to black men for centuries. You were the prosecutor, not the persecutor, the prosecutor. How do those remarks sit with you?
You know, it saddens me to hear that someone would label the justice system in that manner and to equivocate a man who sexually assaulted and intoxicated women, a man who admitted to administering medication to a woman without identifying what it was and then engaging in sexual contact with him. A man who admitted to giving quaaludes to women for the sole purpose of having sex. To equivocate that man to Jesus is just offensive.
Kristen, you're not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but you have worked in sex crimes for a long time. You watched Bill Cosby in that court. You heard 2 trials. What do you think was going on in his head during all of this, all those crimes he allegedly committed?
I can only imagine what was going through his head. You know, just from watching him and looking at his body language, you know, I don't even know that it was clear to him that this was Judgment Day. Judgment Day would soon arise. It didn't appear to me that he thought this day would ever come. And you know what? It came.
Most of us, you know, we knew Bill Cosby as America's dad. You really dug into this case. You had to paint a picture of him for the jury and then the opening and the closing. Who is Bill Cosby? How do you think that we should remember Bill Cosby?
You know, the person that I studied in terms of Bill Cosby in order to look at whether or not we should charge this case, and then obviously once we charged the case and I had to convey a picture to the jury of who that Bill Cosby was, I don't know who he was in terms of how we should remember him. But certainly I can tell you that the individual who sexually assaulted Andrea Constand was nothing more than a con artist, a man who was 2 different individuals, a man who we saw on TV, and he utilized that as a cloak so that he could lure women, groom them, and gain their trust so that he could then administer an intoxicant and sexually assault them.
Kristen, this was a long road and not an easy case. I don't have to tell you, the first trial ended in a mistrial, a hung jury. You tried it again. Was there ever a time in this whole period where you thought, maybe we'll just give up? Did you ever feel discouraged and think, I tried, but we're not going to get the conviction we want?
You know, that's an interesting question. I always look for my strength in the victims, and Andrea Constand, she just was amazing. She remained like so courageous and so brave throughout the entire process. Did I ever consider whether I wanted to give up? I don't think so, because her courage and her strength was enough for me to say, you know what, let's keep going. Because it wasn't, I just got to ask questions and deliver a closing and opening remarks, which I did so many times before. It was her who had to withstand public scrutiny and cross-examination. So if she couldn't, if she was able to remain steadfast and keep going, I had to.
What did she say to you yesterday, Andrea Constand?
Many things, but I think the most important one was I asked her, is she happy with the sentence? And she said yes.
Kristen Gibbons Feden, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
So
we really
for having
appreciate
me.
it.
Thank you.